Hey you guys, it's Angela Marie, your Queen Sickle Cell Warrior, and today I come to you with a video on sickle cell and mental health. Yes, sickle cell and mental health. So, the reason why I chose to talk about mental health is because I recently just went through something, and it's phases, it's not all the time, but I mean, us sickle cell warriors, let's admit we have a lot that we have to deal with. Our pain, our daily pain, going through a crisis, and it can affect relationships. It can affect our jobs. It can affect a lot of things. So, yeah, I chose to talk about this because I'm sure I'm not the only one that has went through it. I'm sure I'm not the only one that struggle and have these phases where I just mentally am drained and tired and ready to just give up. So let me talk about how sickle cell can affect your mental health. Well, one, it can affect your mental health, like I said before, because life be lifing, and we go through things in life, just period, as people. But to have a chronic illness that causes pain, and when you go through the things in life, like I said, life is life, and stress comes upon you as a person. And when stress comes upon a regular person, you may do things to help deal with that stress. Some people drink, some people smoke, some people exercise, some people go for a run, some people decide that they're gonna go for a swim, some people just need somebody to talk to, some people meditate, some people, it's different things that we do to deal with stress, right? But stress don't only affect us mentally, it affects us physically. If you are stressed, your sickle cell will act up. Your red blood cells will begin to sickle. You will have a less amount of oxygen going through your body. You will feel extremely tired. You also are going to have those pain crises because their red blood cells are sickling, which causes a crisis. And now you still got to deal with the stuff that was mentally stressing you in the beginning, but now on top of it, you got to deal with this pain, and you don't know when it's going to stop, how long it's going to last. You don't know if you're going to end up having to go to the hospital. And let's not talk about why you're already stressed out. Now you got to go to the hospital. Now you got to be worried about, I got to be out of work for so many days. I may lose my job. I'm not going to be able to pay these bills, especially if you don't have a support system or a husband or someone that is able to help you with those bills. I mean, it's a lot, and it's a lot on just a normal person, but just imagine dealing with the everyday life stressors that people deal with as an adult. And as a child, teenagers go through things and children go through things too, and then have to deal with pain on top of it. Yeah, it's a lot. It is a lot, and it could be overwhelming. So let me just talk about how I was feeling recently. And I started to post the video and share it with the world, but I was like, maybe next time. This time let me just make a video to talk about it, right? So because you're in constant pain, when we wake up, some days are better than others. My normal daily pain, because I have daily pain, is a 2 to 3. And that's why we get over-the-counter we get prescription medication to take every 4 to 6 hours for pain. And it's a maintenance drug to maintain your daily pain so that you don't have to go into the hospital over pain crisis that could have been prevented. That's just talking about your daily pain, not the stress, not overexertion, not dehydration, none of that. So we have a maintenance medication that we take daily, every 4 to 6 hours, depending on the warrior's doctor, how they wrote the prescription, to take to keep your pain at a manageable level so that you can live life, right? So, yeah. I'm one of those type of people that don't want to take medication. So let's start there. I don't like taking medicine. Now I have to take medicine every day of my life to control some pain, right? Well, I just recently relocated and it took me 9 months to be able to get my medication. I did everything I was supposed to do in the physical, as far as getting my records transferred over, going to the doctor, getting my blood drawn, letting them see that I do actually have sickle cell, despite the 7 to 10 year file you got in front of you from the doctor I've been going to for the last 7 to 10 years, you know. And then where I'm located, the prescription that they're writing is always out of stock. It's on back order. So that was the issue. Then when I finally did get the medication, the oxycodone, then it was a problem getting extended relief. And I'm like, they called in 4 different types of extended relief. And I'm like, what's going on? I asked the pharmacist, why can I never get any of these medications that the doctor is writing? And he simply told me, he was like, ma'am, you're going to be better off just using a regular maintenance pain medication, because we just can't keep it in stock. So we're not even getting it anymore. Yeah. So imagine doing everything you're supposed to do, hydrating yourself, trying to stay stressless, eating healthy, dressing appropriate for the weather, all the different things I told you guys that can trigger a crisis. You're avoiding all those things or doing the right things so you don't go into crisis. But now you can't get the medicine that you depend on, that you've been having for the last 10 years, so that you can operate like a normal person and go to work and do all the things normal people do. Be able to have conversations with your children, be able to play games with them, be able to attend sports, and it's just different things. You're not able to do that because you're in so much pain. On my off days, being able to spend time with them, instead I'm in the bed in pain. So that is frustrating in itself, and mentally can wear on you. So it was to the point where I've been having many crises for the last 9 months. So it has not been a week where I went where my pain's not above my normal 2 to 3. My pain is at a 5, 6, to the point where I'm like, if it don't turn around, I'm gonna have to go to the hospital. I've been living like that for the last 9 months, but I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do and can't get the help I need. One thing I talk about in my previous podcast, if you guys go check that out on YouTube at Pray for a Cure, T.V. You have to put those periods in there for it to come up, and it will be a burgundy ribbon, which, if you guys don't know, that is the symbol for sickle cell warriors. Burgundy ribbon with a black background. Click on that. Then once you do, watch some of the videos, like, comment, subscribe, and please share with other people that podcast. But yeah, so I'm doing everything I can, and I can't get the medicine I need. I'm constantly having to be in the bed on my off days. I'm barely able to do podcasts and do things that I want to do because I'm hurting, and I don't want that energy to come across and you guys but honestly, starting September 1st, I will be vlogging my everyday life every day, so you can get a peep inside of a sickle cell warrior's life. We live normal, healthy lives, but we have those times where we have crisis and we have to take care of ourselves via taking medication, being in the bed, or simply like it's just out of control. We have to go to the hospital, and you guys will share those experiences with me as well. And you'll meet my family. So yeah, that's what I will be doing starting September 1st. So please show your support and log on. But back to the mental health. So I was feeling like, Lord, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do, but I'm dealing with this pain daily. I'm working somewhere where I'm constantly being overexerted. I'm trying to move around and get into a better position where I don't have to be exerted as much. I've been a respiratory therapist now almost 8 years, and I love what I do. But it was to the point where I'm in pain doing what I'm doing, and I like dread going in to do what I'm doing because I'm being overexerted and causing myself to go into a crisis. So I was just in a dark place, like, Lord, I'm not able to do your will anymore, the thing that makes me happy. I'm not able to get my medicine. I'm constantly in pain. I relocated, just relocating to a different state and city is different. Not having family here, but that was a decision I made moving from Atlanta to Texas. But I did it for my child. So just things not going how you intended them, and then on top of it, dealing with this daily pain of more than your 2 or 3, now it's a 5 or 6, and still pushing yourself to go because one, you can't stop working because you don't have the support system to pay your bills. Unfortunately, I don't have a husband. I don't have a boyfriend. I don't have someone to just be like, it's okay, I got it. I got everything. So I have to push myself to go to work even when I'm hurting. It was to the point where when I first relocated to Texas, I got sick. I first had pneumonia within the first month of moving here. Then 3 months later, I had bronchiolitis. On top of dealing with, remember I said pneumonia, bronchiolitis, stuff like that can trigger a crisis. So at them points, I had to go to the emergency room and get help, get hydration, get some IV pain medication. And, 2 times it was like, hey, your levels are up. We need to keep you. But we know that you know how to help yourself. So what do you want to do? And, both times I chose to come home and just take, the doctor gave me a week off to rest, hydrate, take my medicine around the clock. And within 3 days, I was able to pull myself out of that crisis, severe crisis where I need to be hospitalized, back to in my 2, 3, able to function and be okay. But just dealing with that and then going to the hospital and trying to get help and them stereotyping you as a drug seeker. Like, I want to be in the hospital and I don't want to be at home in my comfortable bed. Like, I want to be here away from my family to get some medication. I have medication. Like, is that in itself, I'm going to do a video on, is very, very frustrating. And my fellow sickle cell warriors, I know they know the feeling. Just to be looked at like that. But I run beside y'all 12 hours and probably run around in circles around half of the nurses I know and doctors because I give my all in anything I do. And to come and get help and be looked at like I'm a drug seeker and be waiting in pain for 8 hours, no IV, no pain medication, nothing. And to be hooked up to an IV and just pushed out into a waiting room for 8 hours. Come on now. And then it's cold in the hospital, so cold makes the crisis worse. It's just a lot. But just dealing with that and knowing I'm not getting the help that I needed and being away from family and just constantly being in crisis, I was just over it. And I had everything necessary to end this life and say, I'm done fighting. Everybody look at a sickle cell warrior like y'all the strongest people I know. And, I get that all the time. You're the strongest woman I know. But sometimes we get tired of being strong. Sometimes the pain is so much and then life on top of it, you're just tired. And so I had the pills there. I could have easily took 10, 15, 20 Percocets. I had enough that I could have ended my life. But you know why I didn't? Because I have a relationship with God. And I believe in heaven and hell. And I also know that He has me here for a purpose. He spoke to me and told me to get this information out on sickle cell and make people aware of this disease and fight to get a reasonable and feasible cure that we all can afford. And I'm going to do that until I take my last breath. I promise you guys, I'm going to advocate for us. And even if it's just turning around the views on how people look at us in the hospital, that's going to change if Angela Marie has anything to do with it. And, you know, I was just in a very, very dark place. And because of that relationship with God, even despite, you know, so many times we got to keep pushing for our kids, got to keep pushing for, even the push for the kids didn't feel like it was enough. I just was over it. And I'm like, Lord, how much more pain can I endure? I'm 43 years old. I've been dealing with pain 43 years. It can be a bit overwhelming, especially if you don't have it under control. So I said all that to say, I was able to call some people. And I thank God for my fellow warrior I just met here in Texas, Tyasha. I met her in the hospital. I actually was taking care of her. She was in the hospital. And I don't know what it was. And I say now it was God that allowed me to share with her. I have sickle cell. And she was like, oh my God. She was feeling like nobody understands what she's going through as far as her pain. And I was feeling the same way maybe 3-4 weeks later after we exchanged information. And she reached out. She texted me and she said, hey, just checking on you. She didn't know I was in a dark, dark place at that moment. And I started not to even respond. But she said, I hope you're resting and your pain is under control. Because she remembered when I was taking care of her, that was one of the days I was having some pain in one of my legs. But I was still pushing and doing God's will and doing my work. And so I texted her back and I told her how I was feeling and how I was just tired of the pain and everybody expecting us to be strong and push on and not being able to get my pain medication. And, you know, because I have a career trying to do the right things and not, you know, a lot of people say marijuana helps it. Okay. But I have a career in which I can't partake in that. So, you know, it was nothing but God that sent her to send me that text that day. And I was able, and she was like, well, you know, like you told me, we're going to have some bad days. We're going to have some good days. You got to keep pushing. And that was enough for me to say, okay, let me go meditate. Let me take my medication. Let me just go to sleep. Let me try to reset. And I prayed and asked God to please take the pain away. And please help me to get the situation rectified with my medication and you know, just get me in a better place. And that happened. Like sometimes you just gotta step away, take your medication, take a nap, reset, and focus on you. Another thing that I had an issue with is I constantly go when I know I'm hurting. And, you know, someone that cares greatly about me was telling me, like, you got to stop doing that. Sometimes you just need to sit down and chill out. You don't have to do everything that you're doing because you're off work. Relax. And start saying no to some things. I have older children, you know, they may want me to cook dinner or whatever, but hey, he's like he said, they can cook, let them cook. And I had to step back and stop trying to be mama bear so much so that I wouldn't overexert and send myself into crisis. But mentally that can wear on you when you not needed as much because your kids are older. And all this mental stuff that you deal with can affect you physically when you have sickle cell. and send you into many crises or actually big crisis where you have to be hospitalized. So I share that with you guys, just being vulnerable. And I thank God that He brought me through that a couple of weeks ago. And I thank God for Taisha checking on me. So if you know some fellow sickle cell warriors, are family with some, in a relationship with someone that's one, even though you see them pushing and pushing and pushing, because I go, because when I sit still is when I realize how much pain I'm in. But sometimes we need to sit still. But if you know someone, check on them. Send them a text. How are you, girl? How are you, my boy? Like, how you feeling today? Oh, physically you having a good day. That's great. How are you mentally? Sometimes we just need that. And I'm not just saying with sickle cell warriors, because regular people need that too. So, you know, a sickle cell warrior, check on them, see how they are mentally. Continue to pray for them. Let's pray for a cure together. And I just want to say a special thanks to Taisha, Didi, Vinya, Sasha, and everyone else that prayed for me. But the people that I sent texts to, like, man, I'm just, my sickle cell and mentally I can't right now. Pick up the phone and say, girl, that's what a friend is for. Let's have this conversation. Thank you. Because I was to the point where I was tired. And this sickle cell is no joke. So, to my fellow healthcare workers, when you have a sickle cell patient come in that ER, don't just look at them as a drug seeker. Look at them how you look at me, your fellow respiratory therapist. They run beside you, them 12 hours doing all she can and answering every call that she get because she care about them patients. Not making you wait and actually coming to a call. Think about me when you see those other sickle cell patients. Treat us with some respect. Treat us like we're human. And treat us and listen to what we're saying. Like you listen to all your other patients. Listen. Everybody is not a drug seeker. So I'm going to end this one with that. And just saying to everybody, let's please continue to pray for a cure. So that the next generation, hopefully, or the generation under that, won't even have to go through this. And this video will be something of the past. And they'll be like, wow, they had to go through that? Yeah. So until I can see a feasible cure, I'm going to keep fighting. Love you guys. Go ahead and watch the podcast. If you're seeing this on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, share with other people. And I apologize for, shedding a couple of tears, but sickle cell is real. And mentally, it can really make you want to give up. But to all my warriors, keep fighting. We got this. When you have them days, hit me up. Get in my inbox. We can have a conversation. I got you. Love you guys. And until next time, pray for a cure. Like, comment, subscribe, and share with other people. Go Falcons!